Imagine two men standing in the rain. The first man is holding a massive bucket, but the bucket has 100 holes in the bottom. The rain pours in. He is making a lot of money, but it pours out just as fast. At the end of the storm, his bucket is empty. He is exhausted, stressed, and broke. The second man is holding a small cup, but his cup is solid steel. No holes. The rain is just a drizzle for him. He has a low salary, but he catches every drop. And once the cup is full, he pours it into a barrel. Then, another barrel. At the end of the storm, the man with the huge bucket is begging for water. The man with the small cup is wealthy. This is the financial reality of the modern world. We are obsessed with income. We think the solution to our problems is make more money. But making more money when you have bad habits is like pouring water into a leaking bucket. You don't get richer. You just speed up the flow of waste. The Japanese have understood this for over a century. In 1904, Japan's first female journalist, Hani Motoko, invented a system called KAKEIBO. Translation, Household Financial Ledger. It is not an app. It is not an Excel sheet. It is a physical book and a pen. It is a mindful philosophy that forces you to stare your spending in the face. It is the reason why Japanese housewives are often the secret CFOs of the household, managing to save up to 35% of a modest income. Today, we are going to teach you the art of KAKEIBO. We are going to show you how to patch the holes in your bucket. We are going to show you how to get rich, not by earning a CEO's salary, but by developing a monk's discipline. Why are we so bad with money? Because money has become invisible. You tap your card, you click Buy Now on Amazon, you use Apple Pay. You never see the money leave your hand. You never feel the loss. This is frictionless spending. Corporations have spent billions of dollars to remove the friction from buying. They want you to spend without thinking. When you pay with cash, your brain registers pain. This is a known psychological phenomenon called the pain of paying. When you tap a card, the pain is numbed. You don't feel it until the end of the month when you see the statement. But by then, it is too late. The damage is done. KAKEIBO is the act of reintroducing friction. It forces you to write down every single expense by hand. When you have to physically write latte, $6.50 on a piece of paper, your brain processes the transaction differently. You stop and think. Is latte really worth the effort of writing it down? Is it worth the ink? Suddenly, the invisible money becomes visible. You realize that you aren't just spending numbers on a screen. You are spending your life energy. KAKEIBO turns finance from a mindless habit into a mindful practice. KAKEIBO is simple. That is its power. It relies on asking 4 fundamental questions at the beginning of every month. You sit down, open your notebook, and write, how much money do I have available? Income. How much would I like to save? Goal. How much must I spend? Fixed expenses. How can I improve? The promise. Most people do this backward. They spend first and then save whatever is left over, which is usually 0. The KAKEIBO method flips the equation. Income minus savings equals spending money. You pay yourself first. If you make $3,000 and you want to save $500, you remove the $500 immediately. Now, you have to survive on $2,500. This creates artificial scarcity. When you have less money available, you become more creative. You stop wasting. You prioritize the must-haves over the nice-to-haves. The KAKEIBO practitioner does not look at their bank balance to see if they can afford something. They look at their budget. The bank balance is a lie because it includes rent money, bill money, and savings. The budget is the truth. In KAKEIBO, you categorize every single expense into one of 4 buckets. This is not about complicated spreadsheets. It is about understanding the nature of the expense. 1. Survival. Needs. Rent, food, utilities, transport, medicine. These are non-negotiable. You cannot cut these to zero, but you can optimize them. 2. Optional. Wants. Dining out, shopping, drinks, subscriptions. This is the leak. This is where the battle is won or lost. 3. Culture, mental enrichment. Books, museums, courses, movies. KAKEIBO encourages this. Spending money to grow your mind is an investment, not a waste. However, it must be tracked. 4. Extra, unexpected, repairs, gifts, broken electronics, the things you didn't plan for. Every evening, you sit down for 3 minutes. You take your receipts. You write them into the buckets. This daily ritual is the core of the system. It forces you to confront your choices while the memory is fresh. If you spent $50 on drinks last night, you have to write it down this morning. You feel the sting. That sting prevents you from doing it again tonight. Most people wait until the end of the month to look at their finances. That is an autopsy. The patient is already dead. KAKEIBO is a daily checkup. It keeps the patient alive. For the optional bucket, food, fun, shopping, the Japanese use cash. At the start of the month, they withdraw the exact amount budgeted for fun. They put it in an envelope. When they go out for drinks, they take cash from the envelope. When the envelope is empty, the fun is over. There is no overdraft. There is no putting it on the credit card. The physical limit is absolute. This teaches self-regulation. If you blow your entire fun budget in the first week, you spend the next 3 weeks sitting at home. You learn a painful lesson. Next month, you pace yourself. This is how you master impulse control. You cannot cheat physics. An empty envelope cannot buy a beer. In a digital world, you can use a separate debit card like Revolut or Monzo that you load with a fixed amount. But physical cash is still superior for retraining the brain. Seeing the stack of bills get thinner gives you a visceral sense of time running out. We live in the era of instant gratification. You see it, you want it, you click it. It arrives tomorrow. This destroys wealth. KAKEIBO introduces a cooling-off period. When you see something you want that is not a survival need, you do not buy it. You write it down in a wish list section of your notebook. You wait 30 days. After 30 days, look at the list. Ask yourself, do I still want this? Or was I just bored, sad, hungry? 90% of the time, the urge will be gone. You will look at the item and think, why did I think I needed that? You just saved the money by doing nothing. If you still want it after 30 days with the same intensity, then buy it. That is a purchase made with intention, not impulse. This kills the dopamine shopping loop. Shopping is often a way to self-medicate anxiety. By delaying the purchase, you force yourself to deal with the anxiety directly, rather than covering it up with a new gadget. Why do we buy so much stuff? Because we treat things as disposable. The Japanese concept of monozukuri implies a deep respect for materials and craftsmanship. It is related to mottainai, the regret over waste. When you practice KAKEIBO, you learn to love what you already have. Before you buy a new pair of shoes, you polish your old ones. Before you buy a new phone, you clean the old one and delete the junk files. By caring for your possessions, you extend their life, and you reduce your desire for newness. The consumer economy relies on you being dissatisfied with what you have. KAKEIBO teaches you to find satisfaction in maintenance. Repairing a shirt is an act of rebellion against consumerism. It saves you money, but more importantly, it makes you the master of your material world, rather than a slave to the mall. At the end of the month, you do not just close the book. You practice hansei, reflection. You look at your numbers. You compare your actual spending to your budget. You ask the hard questions. Where did I fail? Why did I spend $200 on Uber Eats? Was I lazy? Was I depressed? How can I fix this next month? This is not about beating yourself up. It is about data collection. You are a scientist studying your own behavior. Maybe you realize that you spend money when you are stressed at work. Okay. Now you have a trigger. Next month, when you are stressed, you need a free alternative, like a walk or a bath, instead of a $50 takeout order. KAKEIBO creates a feedback loop of continuous improvement, Kaizen. You get smarter every month. You get tighter every month. Eventually, you reach a state where you are saving 30%, 40%, or 50% of your income without feeling deprived. You just stopped the bleeding. Wealth is a ratio, not a number. Here is the secret that rich people know. Wealth is not about income. It is about the gap. The gap between what you make and what you spend. Man A makes $200,000 and spends $200,000. He has $0 wealth. He is on a treadmill. If he loses his job, he is destitute in 30 days. Man B makes $50,000 and spends $30,000. He saves $20,000 a year. He has freedom. Man B is richer than Man A because Man B owns his time. KAKEIBO focuses on widening the gap. You cannot always control your income. Raises are hard to get, but you can control your spending today. By widening the gap, you buy your freedom. Every dollar you save is an employee that works for you. When you save $1,000, you are not losing spending power. You are hiring 1,000 tiny workers who will invest and grow and buy you a day where you don't have to work. The KAKEIBO practitioner views savings not as money I can't touch, but as freedom I have bought. Your life is a ledger. You have limited time and limited resources. How are you spending them? Are you spending them on things that rust and rot? Or are you spending them on experiences, on freedom, and on peace of mind? KAKEIBO is more than a budgeting tool. It is a mirror. When you look at your spending, you see your values. If you say family is important, but you spend $0 on family and $500 on golf, the ledger proves you are a liar. Align your spending with your soul. Stop the leaks. Patch the bucket. Pick up the pen. The path to riches does not start with a lottery ticket. It starts with a notebook. Here is your mission. We are going to do a 7-day KAKEIBO challenge. For the next 7 days, you will not just check your app. You will physically write down every single cent you spend. Use a notebook, a napkin, the back of your hand. I don't care. Write it down. Coffee, $4.50. Gas, $40. At the end of the 7 days, look at the list. Circle the wants in red. Calculate the total. You will be shocked at how much money you are setting on fire. Awareness is the first step to change. So, tell me, what is your guilty pleasure expense? The one small thing that drains your wallet every month. For example, daily Starbucks, in-app game purchases, Uber instead of walking. Confess it in the comments. And then, write the vow of KAKEIBO. I master my money. It does not master me. If this story has changed the way you view the leaks in your own financial bucket, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the historical wisdom that modern consumerism tries to bury. Start planting the seeds of your future wealth today. The next treasure of knowledge will be opened soon.